Are you a small business owner? You got a business you want to sell? You want top value? Well, stay tuned because today I got a special guest and we're going to show you how to do that.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
Welcome to the Retiring Well Show. Listen, I've been excited to do this show for quite some time because what I want to talk about today is small business. There's a lot of small businesses all over Northern Michigan, and the number one question we'll get a lot of times from these small business people when they come into the office is, you know, I've got this business, I know it has value, I've had it for quite some time, but now how do I transition this? How do I sell this business and then go into retirement? So if that's you out there, you're going to find this very interesting today. So I got a special guest. His name is Bill Malik. And Bill, we've actually known each other for quite some time.
Yes, actually we have. Going back to 2001 when I started my accounting career, I actually worked for you at Bay Business Service. And within 2 years, I bought part of your practice and started my own practice called Michigan Business Advisors.
Yeah. Now I remember that because it wasn't that long after 9/11, right? I mean,
yeah,
that was. Now, and a lot of folks, you may not know this, but I had my own tax and accounting practice for over 25 years. I think I started it in 1990, and I sold it just about 6-7 years ago. But yeah, Bill, you kind of came on. I had you start working with some clients, and then I just kind of handed them over to you, and you kind of took it from there.
Yep, we did, and we took the small group that we bought from you, and we expanded that business. And not only did we expand that business, we actually developed a business niche in bankruptcy. So we did a lot of Chapter 11 reorganizations, and I'm really proud of our record there. We had an 85% success rate in getting people reorganized and out of their business. And so my niche ended up being taking troubled businesses and fixing them.
Yeah, and that was coming off that recession of 2000, 2002, right? I mean, yes. Yeah, and then we saw that again in 2008.
Yeah, that was a big year for bankruptcies. Thankfully, a lot of people now have reorganized, and I had a lot of clients that we took through the bankruptcy for a lot of years stay with us, and up until about 18 months ago when I sold my practice to retire. Spent the summer on my boat, and then I got bored.
Yeah, now I'm back.
Now I'm back, yeah.
You know, they say recent statistics show that most people, when they finally retire, usually within about 18 months, they're back doing something else, because you can't just sit in a rocker, right?
That's true. And I don't work nearly as hard as I used to. It used to be a 7-day grind for us, back when you're doing tax returns and things. Yeah. And now it's pretty much a 5-day-a-week job, and I'm doing what I enjoy doing.
There you go. Well, let's talk about that, Bill, because now what you're doing is helping businesses sell, right, and helping people who want to buy a business. You're kind of connecting them, right?
Yes, it all started about, I would say 12, 13 years ago when I went and got my business valuation certificates and started doing business valuations so that I could represent people in bankruptcy court as an expert witness, and that turned into representing people in divorce and business partnership disputes and so on. But so after I retired, I was thinking, what can I do that's not going to be too taxing, but a lot of fun for me, and that's you're best at what you do best and enjoy. And so we came up with the idea of selling businesses by owner, or for sale by owner, and it kind of has grown from there. And I've had a lot of great success, and we're pretty happy with it.
Right. I remember getting asked that a lot when I had my accounting practice. I've got this business, now what do I do from here, and what if I'm that business that wasn't weaning somebody, up to kind of take it over, that was always a challenge.
Well, the one good memory that I have with one of the clients that I worked with you was a gentleman who didn't have any children to leave his business to, and he was over retirement age, let's say. And I was servicing his account for Bay Business, and he asked me one day, he wanted $1 million for his business and how he could go about selling it. And that was a fun project that we worked on together. And we finally did a valuation on it and came up with a $1.1 million value on it. And when I told him it was worth $1.1 million, he argued with me. He said, "No, I want $1 million." And I kept saying, "Yeah, but we can get you more." And he said, "No, I want $1 million." Finally, I said, "Okay, we'll take the $100,000 and give you $1 million." And then it dawned on him that that wasn't going to fly.
Actually, the $1 million one was a better deal. So, all right. Well, listen, folks, we're going to be back. I'm going to talk more about this, what we call succession planning, or how to sell a business, how to make those connections. So stay tuned.
Are you retired or approaching retirement in the next 5 to 10 years? Join the Centennial Wealth Advisory team for an exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. 3 dates and locations to choose from. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Call 888-608-5825.
We look forward to helping you plan to retire well.
Today's retirement challenges can be mastered. Knowledge is power because you can confidently plan ahead and make educated financial decisions for a successful and comfortable retirement. We are Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors, specializing in retirement planning, serving all of northern Michigan with offices in Traverse City, Cadillac, Petoskey, and Gaylord. And we invite you to an informative and exciting live event with a complimentary gourmet dinner. You'll learn highlights of the new Tax Reform Act, how an IRA gets taxed to a surviving spouse, how two similar portfolios can end up with two drastically different results, what a bull market is and how long it can last, and much more. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that works best for you. Tuesday, December 10th at the Evergreen Resort in Cadillac. Wednesday, December 11th at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City, or Tuesday, December 17th at Big Buck Brewery in Gaylord. The live event starts at 6 p.m. and is free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow, but seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important live event. Educated financial decisions. Call 888-608-5825.
All right, welcome back. Now listen, Bill, in this segment, I want to talk about that small business person. What do they typically look like? Because they have certain characteristics I've found, as I've dealt with them for a long time. One I'll tell you I always found is they were typically people that didn't usually like to work for somebody else.
That's most often the case. They think they can operate the business they're working in much better than the owner is. They have the skill sets or they have a passion towards what it is that they're working on. And they just want to take it to the next level, and they have the opinion of why should the boss get more than me, and so that's when they decide that they want to take that leap and get into their own business.
Yeah. they're usually people that are very good at what they do too, right? I mean, I think of that mechanic who was a great mechanic. You know, he's turning a wrench, he's working for somebody else, and then yeah, he gets that day. He says, you know what, I think I could do this.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you know, taking the mechanic example a little step further, usually they're doing it on weekends and at nights on their family, and they're being paid a little bit, you know, on the side, so they're making a little extra money, and they finally just say, you know, I need to take it that extra step, and you know, it's good to see that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I found too with small business people that, you know, especially the owners, they have great people skills most generally. You know, they know how to talk to people.
They do, and usually they're fairly good salespeople. So, you know, that helps considerably when they can do that. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't have the accounting skills that they need, and I would highly recommend that they get a competent accountant to help them out and get their books set up.
Right. Well, I used to talk about that. You know, I'm going to have a mechanic work on my car because they know what they're doing. The mechanic's the one that says, I'm going to have you do my bookkeeping because I think you can do that. Right? If everybody's doing what they do best, that's a really good thing, right?
It's a win-win, and sometimes it costs a little bit more money than what they would like to spend, but in the end, it's, especially when it comes time to start thinking about selling your business, that's really a crucial part of it.
Right. Right. Well, let's talk about that, Bill, because now they want to sell their business. You know, there's value there, but the first thing that has to be answered is, what is the value, right?
Right, and that's where the business valuation comes in. You want to know where it is so that you can price it within 5 to 8%, one way or the other, depending on the time frame that you want to sell it in. So if you have a good valuation, that'll give you an idea of where you need to price it, but also more importantly, when a buyer comes along, you have something to use to justify your value. And then thirdly, the buyer, if the buyer wants to purchase that business, then we know where he sits in terms of getting an SBA loan, because SBA requires a business valuation when it's purchased.
Gotcha. Now, have you ever run into a situation where somebody thought their business was probably worth more than it was?
Actually, more
the other way?
More the other way. More, we find that I'm finding that people are undervaluing what they think their business is worth.
Oh, well, that must be encouraging for them to find that out.
To hear that number. Yeah. In fact, I just finished evaluation today, and I talked to the couple, the wife, a couple days ago, and they were thinking that it was about $40,000, $50,000 less than what it actually came out in terms of valuation, and it's a solid valuation.
Right. So, you know, so when it comes to this valuation, I mean, you're really putting yourself in the shoes of the buyer. I mean, because they've got an investor hat on now. They want to make sure that they can cash flow this business, that that it's meeting certain norms, so that if they buy this, it's going to be profitable for them, right?
That's right. And part of the theory behind the valuation is how it would stack up against a common stock portfolio.
Okay. All right.
So it's measured against what a similar business that's in the market would sell for with certain discounts based on the fact of marketability.
All right, good. All right, well, we're going to break here, and when we return, I want to talk a little bit more about the specifics of that process and, you know, kind of how that works for somebody out there who might be looking to sell their business. So stay tuned.
Today's retirement challenges can be mastered. Knowledge is power because you can confidently plan ahead and make educated financial decisions for a successful and comfortable retirement. We are Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning, serving all of northern Michigan with offices in Traverse City, Cadillac, Petoskey, and Gaylord. And we invite you to an informative and exciting live event with a complimentary gourmet dinner. You'll learn highlights of the new Tax Reform Act, how an IRA gets taxed to a surviving spouse, how two similar portfolios can end up with two drastically different results, what a bull market is and how long it can last, and much more. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that works best for you. Tuesday, December 10th at the Evergreen Resort in Cadillac. Wednesday, December 11th at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City, or Tuesday, December 17th at Big Buck Brewery in Gaylord. The live event starts at 6 p.m. and is free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow, but seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important live event. Educated Financial Decisions. Call 888-608-5825.
Hi, welcome back. Now, if you're just joining us, I'm here with Bill Malik, and we're talking about small business and how to sell a small business, right? How to find a buyer. Bill, we were talking in the last segment about valuations, and I can't tell you how many times I remember having a small business and they knew they had some value. They wanted to sell it, but when I got into the numbers, did some, not the kind of valuations you do, but kind of some preliminary ideas of what it might be there. A lot of times just found that, it was providing them a really good living, but other than that, if they tried to sell it, all somebody was really doing was buying a job.
Yes, and that's another reason why you want to have a business valuation done. There are industry standards that we use, and I subscribe to services that go out and look at all the businesses in a particular industry, and it's done by SIC codes. And so it tells us what the normal wage would be for a business based on their sales volume.
Gotcha.
And so we would take a look at what that is compared to what they're drawing. Now, you'd be surprised sometimes that even though the individual selling that business thinks he's just making a decent living, he's actually taking more in terms of wages out of the business than what the wages are for that particular industry.
Gotcha.
So if he were to go out and replace himself with a manager, is what we're looking at in terms of when we start doing valuations, so that would increase the value if that were the case.
Gotcha. So if I got a business that was, I'm just using rough numbers, but let's say it was making $200,000 a year, but he was taking a salary of $150,000 out, and the salary for that position should only be maybe $75,000. That allows a lot more for value, doesn't it?
Yes, that increases the cash flow, or what we would call the cash flow of the business, and would go into the adjustments, and then that would increase the multiple of the value of the business.
Gotcha. Well, Bill, let's talk more about the process, okay? I'm a small business. Maybe I'm 5 years away from retiring. I know I need to transition this. I'm thinking I need to call somebody like you to see how I might position that and sell it, or maybe I'm ready right now. But so I've given you a call. Walk me through how that process looks like.
Well, typically you should plan 24 months in advance.
Okay.
And it wouldn't hurt to even if you don't do anything right now, to come in and sit down and talk with me, because we want to make sure that your financial statements, as I alluded to earlier, are set up according to general accounting procedures. So if they're set up according to GAAP, we want you, we want you to go see your CPA or your accountant and make sure that they're set up properly, so that when we go to do the valuations, we're able to get everything out of it that we need to get out of it, all of the information, because sometimes we're not doing deep dives into each account. And what you might think an account is on an expense, it may really be a balance sheet item. And so we have to make those adjustments all the time. And it just makes it a lot easier, much more cost effective to do it that way.
All right, so good numbers. Got to start off with good numbers. Then we get an evaluation done, try to get a real number. And sometimes you got to use rule of thumbs in the industry, right?
Well, we use the rule of thumbs as a sanity check.
Gotcha.
Okay, we call them sanity checks, and we just say, okay, does it make sense that this business can handle this valuation number in terms of somebody buying it and paying it off in a reasonable period of time?
Gotcha. All right, so we've gotten good numbers. Now we've got a good valuation. We kind of have an idea, benchmark what this business should sell for. Now you've got to find a buyer.
Yes. And that's the problem if you're trying to do it yourself. Now, if you have a family member or a key employee who would like to buy it, that's good. We can work with that. In fact, the way that our system works is that you would not pay me a fee if you come up with the buyer. So only at that point we would become the buffer between you and the key employee, so that it doesn't create animosities. So I'm the one who gets to be the bad guy.
All right, gotcha. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about that in our next segment, so stay tuned.
Are you retired or approaching retirement in the next 5 to 10 years? Join the Centennial Wealth Advisory team for an exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. 3 dates and locations to choose from. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Call 888-608-5825.
Hi, welcome back. Bill, in the last segment, you made a comment, and I just want to stress this. You said, why somebody shouldn't try to find a buyer themselves, right? Well, one reason I can think of right away is I don't think somebody knows even how to find those buyers, right? Can you talk more about that?
Well, we try to create a market, and that's the hardest part of this whole process, is creating the market for a small business to sell in. We do it through radio advertising. Actually, we advertise on Ron Jolly, WTCM, CCW. We advertise in Northern Express and in the Business News, and we're advertising for buyers, if you've ever seen our ads. The idea is for them to register on our website and give me a little information about them. We call them all, and I basically pre-qualify them as to whether or not they're a qualified buyer or not. If they have the ability to buy a business in the first place, what their skill sets are, what their passions are. The next part of that then would be to match them up with what we have available. And a lot of times I don't have something available for what they're looking for, but they're told that right from the get-go that I don't have it, and I will keep them on the list, and when I do have something for them, I would contact them immediately. all of them have appreciated the fact that I told them right up front I didn't have any or thing for them at that point in time, and
Gotcha. Now, don't you also belong to like a national broker operation that has potential buyers out there?
We also advertise on the National Broker Network, so it's out there nationally. Most of the people that come through that source are from the Chicago, Grand Rapids, Detroit, Lansing area, and looking to relocate or wanting to move up here. Generally, they're a little bit younger group that have had great success with their college education and great jobs and big 401ks, and and so they get qualified fairly easy.
Okay.
So depending on the industry or the business that they're kind of looking for.
Yeah. Well, what I like about your whole process is you're in essence you're getting somebody top value for their business, and you're doing it all behind the scenes. I mean, that's a real challenge for a small business. They can't put a sign out front that says I'm for sale, because that hurts business, right? A lot of them want to go to their competition and let them, but now they're letting their competition know they're selling, which can't typically be good either. So I like this whole process.
Right. We don't disclose names of businesses that are for sale. And in fact, you'd be a little bit surprised of who's for sale around here. But yeah, we never disclose who it is until we have a matched up buyer for them, and then they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and they're given a pretty good lecture as to the fact that they have to keep that totally confidential between them and their advisors.
Gotcha. Now, Bill, I just want to kind of bring in where maybe I might be of help. We'll get these small business, they're going to sell. Well, there's tax consequences, and they better know what that is, because they might get full value, but Uncle Sam's there to get their share, right? And then what they've got left is a lump sum. Now, I find the typical entrepreneur is always either swung a hammer, turned a wrench, or or maybe they were in retail sales, but now they don't have that business to provide an income. They've got to take that lump sum and they got to turn it into a lifetime income for themselves, and that's where getting a financial planner, tax planner involved can be very, very beneficial.
Absolutely, that's a critical part of it, and they really should, even at the time that they decide that they want to put their business up for sale, they should really get a hold of you and go through what the scenarios could be and whether, in what form they should take their payment.
Yeah. Now, I've never had a business owner be very happy about that. They feel like they've worked very hard to build this business up, and then when they find out they had a silent partner in this the whole time, Uncle Sam, they're not generally happy with that.
Well, they're not.
No. Now, Bill, if somebody is looking to sell a business, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, they can go to mibusinessadvisors.com, and in the lower left-hand corner, click on Businesses for Sale by Owner and register with us, and I'll be giving them a call within 2 or 3 days, or they can call me at 231-313-4223.
All right, Bill, thank you for joining me today. Folks, yeah, you bet. Folks, if that's you out there, if you got a business you're looking to sell, I encourage you to give Bill a call. Give me a call, because you're going to need some advice on how to turn that business into an income stream for the rest of your life. So thanks for joining us.